Hey everybody, we are teaching Tilt Brush. This Tilt Brush actually is going out on May 10th, 2020, which is Mother's Day, filming on Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to all of you who either are a mother or have a mother or mothers, and especially out to my mother, Sachiko Howard in New Hampshire. I love you, Mom. So what we're going to do today is look at a tool most mothers would appreciate, a tool to help us keep things neat, keep things aligned. This is referred to as the snap or lock tool, and it doesn't show up all the time, but it's a useful tool when you're trying to get things to line up precisely. Most of us, when we're freehanding stuff, let's turn off my straight edge, it doesn't matter as much how things line up, where things line up. But if we're trying to create a larger, more unified piece, especially a piece out of several other pieces, it can be critical that we have things line up smoothly, planes are on the same plane, that type of thing. And that's not necessarily easy to do freehand. So there, built into Tilt Brush is this tool called lock or snap. It doesn't show up everywhere. In fact, it only really shows up in two cases. Case number one, if you're using a guide. So here's our guides control, and I'm going to bring up a cube. Cube. If I was trying to make, say, a ziggurat, or a pyramid, or a structure made out of several levels, when I put on the next cube, I would like it to line up. And depending on how good your aim in your hand is, it may or may not be a nice alignment. So this snap tool will allow us to be sure things are lining up nicely. So the guide is one case where we're going to be seeing this. The other case where we see this is when we are painting with a straight edge. Normal painting, it's not going to worry about getting things lining up perfectly. But if I'm doing straight edges, if I want those two lines to be parallel, freehand, you can see I might have a little bit of angles. But this snap or lock tool will help you be sure all of your lines are following the exact same angle. So here's how it looks, here's how it's going to work. We're going to start with our guides. And this works with any guide on any system, Quest, PlayStation, or a Steam-based headset. So normally I've got guides and I can grab them and move them around. This works with spheres, ellipses, any of the guides. While I'm moving it around, and it only shows up while I'm actually got it gripped, if you look at my controller, let's see if I can angle it so you can see the buttons without the controller itself. Kind of tough here. If you look at the controller when you're using it, normally I've got the two buttons representing where my finger buttons are. Finger buttons. Normally when I've got something gripped, if it's a guide, the lower button gets an image, let's turn off my straight edge here, gets an image that looks like a lock. It's kind of hard to see on screen because my hand actually gets in the way due to the overlap. Maybe I should offset it a little bit. But when I grab it, my thumb button now has a lock. The moment you press your thumb, see how the guide snaps? No thumb, I can wobble it around. Thumb, it's stuck. It'll pop, so it'll be straight up and down or horizontal. But it won't rotate, it won't spin, it's locked at that plane. I'm going to grab it, move it so it's roughly aligned, lock, and wherever you let go, it's going to stay lined up like that. Now I'm going to grab the second sphere. Lock. You can see it's now stuck to the exact same grid. Up, down, whoops, let's not reshape it here. Up, down, left, and right. This guy stays lined up with the other grid. So now I can use the squares. I can worry about centering. Let go. And I don't have to worry about the way my hand is being held. It will keep it aligned. So now I'll have one of these guys lock into this corner, grab another cube, lock into this corner, and I just have to worry about the placement. I don't have to worry about the alignment. Now I'm going to use my selection tool, select all three guides, and group them. Group. Now I can grab any one of them, even if they're not selected anymore. If I grab any one of them, they come together as a whole group. Now, one thing to bear in mind, if it's a group, you no longer get a lock. Now that I've got a group, if I use that same thumb button, that's our standard duplicate. Copy and paste. Duplicate. Thumb trigger. Copy and paste. I don't actually need that one. I don't actually need that one. So if I do need to do some more realignment, I will need to actually ungroup them. You guys are no longer a group. Now I can individually grab lock, grab lock, grab lock, and add more pieces as I need. So you cannot lock a group. You can only lock individual guides. So try to get your piece assembled before you move it around. Now I can go in with a regular paintbrush, and as I paint, I know I'm going to stay on those pieces, stay aligned, up and down, that type of thing. Always on the same faces, always aligned up, aligned in the same way. So even if I hide the guides, all of my pieces still hold their overall alignment. So this snap, this lock, only works on individual guides, but it keeps them nailed to the same plane, the same alignment, so you can assemble pieces as you need. Once you've got all the pieces assembled, group it together, and you've got a nicely constructed, neatly aligned piece to work with. So guides is one case where we've got this lock, this snap. That's not the only case. We can also switch to a straight edge paintbrush. Normally, painting freehand, paint whatever you want. Painting straight edge, straight edges. However, when I've got a straight edge going, the moment I pull the trigger, it adds that lock, but only when your straight edge is active. So watch what happens when I thumb trigger now. See how it snaps. It's locked to certain angles. Horizontally, you can go any way you want. Vertically, we've got these snaps. So now I can make this line at that angle, grab another point, and it's at exactly the same angle. Make sure to release the trigger before your thumb. This is tricky the first times you do it, so it may be something you want to practice a bit. They're all at the same angle. Release trigger, then release thumb. Trigger, thumb, release trigger, release thumb. Perfectly parallel lines that are locked to the same angle, to the same direction. You can see you can vary on the other directions. Remember how I said a circle? So if I've got it locked at that angle, I can still move around, paint a cone type of thing. So I'll do a circus tent where they're all locked at the same angle, but now I'm going to pull that out into different directions. But they're all at the same angle. So this only shows up with any of the brushes, but only when you've got the straight edge active. The moment I turn off the straight edge, there's no lock. You can thumb on, thumb off, it won't care. So when painting, we can straight edge to lock down our angles and directions. Or if we're using a guide, we can lock the guide so it's always perfectly horizontal or vertical, and we can make sure things line up the same way. We can move things in space, but they maintain their orientation. So when you're using these tools, look carefully at your thumb trigger on your brush controller while you've got your mouse down with a straight edge or while you're gripping a guide. The symbol looks like a padlock, and it's right on your thumb. Straight edge, grip, lock that angle, snap to that angle. Very useful as you're trying to build more regular shapes, cityscapes, machined objects, anything where you really want that level of precision. This lock tool helps out with that. I hope this is helpful. I hope you guys get a lot out of this stuff. We really enjoy doing this. Oops, let me turn off my straight edge here. We do this every week live on Twitch. Subscribe. We also do this weekly on YouTube. So go ahead and subscribe. You can let us know in the comments and things if you have any questions. Make sure I spelled that right. Let us know if there are other tools or art techniques you'd like to learn about. Thanks for joining us on Teaching Tilt Brush. Happy Mother's Day to everybody, and we'll see you soon. Have fun in Tilt Brush.